Alright, so I have released Deeply Dysphoric, the book of short stories. Every story is about a trans character, and I'm gonna read you one of the stories because I want to. The first story in Deeply Dysphoric is Guy and a Guy, and that's the one I'm gonna read. Aw, no, Will groaned as my car passed the finish line once again. I was so close. Ha, yeah, right, I said. Just admit I'm the reigning champ. You're embarrassing yourself. You only won twice. Rematch. I munched on a potato chip. Fine. Loser pays for pizza. Deal. I let him choose the track this time. He turned up the volume on his computer as the countdown started. We barely finished the first lap before his sister barged into the room. Can you keep it down, Gemma said. I can hear you from down the hall. Will held up a hand, not taking his eyes off the screen. Just close the door. You know the rules. Door stays open when a girlfriend's over. I've never even had a girlfriend before, Will says with a roll of his eyes. He pointed to me. It's just Ben. Yeah, and she's a girl. My grip on the controller tightened. So, Will said, we're just friends. Gemma laughed haughtily. Yeah, okay. I missed a power-up. Why'd you say it like that? Girls and guys can't just be friends, Gemma said. One of them always ends up falling for the other. Like I'd ever fall for Will, I said, keeping my tone light to hide the sticky discomfort. He hates ketchup chips. That's a deal breaker. She flicked the light switch on and off a few times. Leave us alone, Gemma, Will said, and close the door on the way out. Mom's not even here. Right, which means I'm in charge. You can close the door when you start hanging out with actual boys your age instead of a girl who dresses like one. Fuck off, Gemma, Will yelled. She shrugged and walked away. My car crashed into an obstacle and spun off the track. Will pulled ahead of me and won by a few seconds. Yes! Will threw his arms in the air. Finally! Beat your ass. Oh yeah, good job, man. Will popped a chip into his mouth. You okay? Mm-hmm. Damn, didn't think you'd be a sore loser. What? No, it's not that. I know. He smirked, then set down his controller. Is it what Gemma said? You know she's only joking. My thumb tapped against the X button. Oh shit, he said. It does bother you, doesn't it? No, it's just... She's kind of right, though, I said, seeing the opportunity I'd been waiting for all week. It is sort of hard for girls and guys to be friends. I mean, I guess it works in some cases, but that's not really our case. He looked at me with a kind of panicked expression. What do you mean? Because we're not a girl and a guy, I tried saying, my heart racing like that car on the screen. We're a guy and a guy. I wanted to tell him. I promised myself I would, but how could I? We'd been inseparable since kindergarten. As far as he knew, he grew up with a tomboy, not a boy. Would he even believe the truth? Sure, he handled my autism diagnosis well, but this felt much bigger. I don't know how to say this, I muttered. I fought the urge to close my eyes. I could do this. Will scratched his chin. When I failed to continue, he stood up and grabbed our empty pop cans. I'm getting a refill, he said. Do you want anything? Sure. Ginger ale or root beer? Just water, if that's okay. He nodded and left the room. I inhaled deeply, filling my skull with as much oxygen as possible, but the dizziness remained as I rehearsed the words in my head. Will, I have something to tell you, I'd say. Then he'd say, what is it? And I'd say, you know what transgender means, right? Then he'd say, I flapped my hands and pulled the collar of my shirt over my nose. Why couldn't I predict Will's response? My gaze found the window. From this angle, a crack in the curtains revealed the treehouse to Will's backyard, the one dubbed property of William and Bernadette. My eyes felt sweaty. Here's your water. Will set a glass on the side table next to me. My throat was dry, but I couldn't reach for the cup. I sat back up, crossing my legs. I can do this. Will, Actually, we could use some more chips. Be right back. Will! I stood up before he could leave the room. Why do you keep running away? I'm not running away. Yes, you are. Every time I start talking, you just leave. I only did it twice, which is 2 more than normal. What's going on? He leaned against the wall. I just don't want you to say what you're about to say. I looked at the floor. Did he already know? Was he not okay with it? Was me coming out going to ruin everything? No, don't be sad, he said. He walked over and put his hands on the sides of my shoulders. You're a great girl and all, I just don't see you that way. Whoa, what? I pushed him off of me. You think I like you? That's not what's happening? No. Oh, thank fuck. He flopped on the bed and rolled over. Gemma got in my head. Sorry, what did you want to tell me? I swallowed and sank into Will's gaming chair. Come on, Ben, spit it out. Girls and guys can be friends, I said, but that's not us, because you're not friends with a girl. He stared at me blankly. I hugged my hands across my chest. I'm not a girl. Will's lips parted slightly, but no words fell out. He turned his head away from me, his eyes moving back and forth like a computer processing a request. The longer he was silent, the less confident I felt. So, you're a dude? Or non-binary? He finally said. The first one. Ah, okay. Cool. With a bobbing chin, he blinked a few times, then yawned, stretched, and leaned back on the bed with his hands behind his neck. Huh, well, what do you know? He said. Turns out I am friends with a guy my age. I took a sip of water to cool the heartburn. Does that mean you're fine with it? Oh, it's better than fine. Maybe now people will finally stop thinking we're dating. Here's hoping, I said with a relieved laugh. I picked up my controller. Rematch? Will woke up the monitor. Best 3 out of 5? You're on. Prepare to be buying pizza. And then the next page is the pain exchange, which has Sawyer and Flynn. Flynn kind of tries to help Sawyer try trans tape for the first time so that he can play football without binder bruises. The next story that has Will and Ben is Understood, which introduces a new character. Understood is about Ben experiencing social dysphoria. He doesn't experience physical dysphoria, like he's fine with his body. He doesn't think there's anything wrong with it, but he also feels like he has to change it in order to be seen as a guy. Wait, I'll read you how he explains it. I wondered if Will actually saw me as a boy or if he was just pretending. I had always gone by Ben, because Bernadette never really suited me, so all he had to do was call me he. But was he just doing it to make me happy? Sure, my hair was short and my chest was bound, but I didn't have what most people would call a boy's body. I did have a boy's body because it was my body and I was a boy, but the rest of the world insisted I didn't because nothing physically separated me from all the girls my age. I didn't hate my body, though. Not really. I just couldn't stomach people making false assumptions about me because of it. And then he goes to the roof, which is where he goes when he's overstimulated. And then this new character named Ari shows up and is like, what are you doing? This is my spot. And Ben's like, what are you talking about? I've been coming here since before you got to this school. Ari could not care less about what people think of them. However, she does try to help Ben with, like, perception issues. And the two of them bond over the fact that they both know what it's like to be seen as something they're not. And then they go find French fries. And then we have Shutdown. Shutdown has all 3 of Ben, Ari, and Will. At some point behind the scenes, Ari becomes friends with Will as well, and like they're just like a group. This one's about Ben having a verbal shutdown when he's supposed to be hanging out with his friends, so instead of playing video games like they usually do, they play a board game with the lights off. I don't know what it is about natural light that's just like less overstimulating than like an overhead light, so not the point. Shutdown is based off of this skit I made for the Ninjago trans parody, so if you've seen that, you'll like recognize the plot. Also, Shutdown is the only story in this entire book that's from the third person. The rest of them are first person. I would read more from it because I'm proud of it, but also if I did, then no one would buy it. So you can get Deeply Dysphoric on Amazon as a physical book, but if you just want an ebook, it's on Kobo, Ko-Fi, and Kindle. I'm also currently working on an audiobook, and hopefully that'll be out in January. There will be links down below. I like my characters. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.